That click, the satisfying snap of gray plastic sliding into a front-loader Nintendo console, it's a sound that still lights up the brain like the first chord of your favorite song. Or maybe for you, it's the futuristic chime of a PlayStation booting up, or the booming Sega that shook the living room. For roughly 40 million Americans born between 1975 and 1995, those sounds are hardwired into their formative years. And right now, in 2025, that shared memory isn't just a warm bath for your inner kid, it's the engine fueling a market that has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Here's the twist that proves this is more than just a passing fad. Back in July of 2021, a brand new sealed Super Mario 64 cartridge for the Nintendo 64 sold at an auction for over $1.5 million. That's not an anomaly. It's a market signal. Nostalgia isn't just a feeling anymore. It's a line item on quarterly earnings reports. So why is retro gaming, an activity once written off as dusty eBay hunting and legally gray emulation, suddenly the loudest and most interesting conversation in the entire gaming world? To understand the now, we have to go back. Cast your mind back to 1991. The world was different. The living room is buzzing with the low hum of a CRT television. On screen, the vibrant pixels of Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo. The air is thick with the smell of pepperoni pizza and the sweet scent of Capri Sun. The experience was tangible. $50 didn't just buy you a license to access content, it bought you a cardboard box you actually owned. This ownership created a unique culture. We traded cartridges on the school bus like they were currency. A sleepover success was measured by the stack of games you and your friends brought to the table. And if a game like Super Mario crushed your spirit, and it did, there was no online guide or YouTube tutorial. You either got better or you stayed mad, or you called the Nintendo Power Hotline in desperation. Flash forward to today, 2025. The landscape couldn't be more different. A new AAA game can weigh 150 gigabytes, cost $70 right out of the gate, and still demand that you download a 42 gigabyte Day Zero patch before you can even see the start menu. You're juggling two-factor authentication apps just to get into the game launcher to queue the download. For the average adult, after a 10-hour day of back-to-back meetings and a relentless barrage of Slack pings, the last thing they want is to come home to what feels like another job. That's what many modern games have become. They present you with an open-world checklist the size of Delaware, filled with hundreds of icons, fetch quests, and crafting systems that require a spreadsheet to manage. The spectacle is undeniable. These games are gorgeous technological marvels, but they are also exhausting. They treat your time like it's an infinite resource, but our calendars and our responsibilities keep reminding us every single day that it is not. The complexity meant to create value often just creates a barrier, turning a potential escape into another source of fatigue. That friction is exactly what pushes many players back towards simpler, more immediate forms of play, often the ones they grew up with. And when your free time is scarce, the promise of quick, meaningful play becomes far more valuable than scale and spectacle. There's a powerful scientific reason why the overworld theme from The Legend of Zelda or the opening notes of Castlevania can make you feel 10 feet tall. Neuroscientists have a term for it: context-dependent memory recall. Your brain doesn't just store memories as abstract data. It stashes them with a full suite of sensory information. The pixels, the sounds, the feel of the plastic controller in your hands. When that Genesis startup chord hits, it doesn't just play a sound. It drags the entire year of 1994 in right behind it, complete with all the associated feelings and experiences. This isn't just sentimental fluff, it has measurable biological effects. A 2023 Cambridge study found that adults who listened to nostalgic game audio for just 10 minutes showed a significant drop in the stress hormone cortisol. That's a level of calm comparable to meditation, but without the prescription or the yoga mat. Playing these games can induce a flow state, a focused calm where you are fully immersed, reducing stress and improving your mood. Nostalgia isn't weakness, it's cheap, effective therapy with a much better soundtrack. That for that moment brings you back to a time where you had no worries but to pass the next level. For a long time, being a retro gamer meant you were a hunter. You prayed for garage sale miracles, blew on dusty cartridges, hoping to bring them back to life, and crossed your fingers that the decades-old battery save in your Final Fantasy III cart still held. It was a niche, often frustrating hobby. Not anymore. Today you can fit over 1,100 Super Nintendo games on a handheld device that costs less than getting a single modern Joy-Con repaired. The revolution is happening on multiple fronts. Official services like Nintendo Switch Online drop a dozen classic games every month, making them legally and easily available. Companies like Evercade produce physical cartridges that stack like Legos, each one containing a curated collection of classic titles. And then there are the mini consoles. The NES Classic Edition sold 2.3 million units in just over 5 months, proving that the massive audience never really left. They were just waiting for a legal, painless way back in. Emulation still lurks in the legal gray area, but the explosion of official re-releases has taken the moral panic out of the equation for most people. Your grandma can now buy Sonic Mania on her iPad without ever having to learn what a ROM forum is. Accessibility is king. Physical and digital paths have opened in parallel. Think about Pac-Man: 4 ghosts, 1 maze, 0 tutorials. You can write the entire objective of the game on a bar napkin. Now, compare that to the multi-tiered loot and grind system in a modern Assassin's Creed, or the complex skill trees of a contemporary RPG. Retro games operate on the ancient, elegant law of easy to learn, a lifetime to master. You can teach someone to play Tetris in 30 seconds, but it can take 30 years to truly master its strategies. The pixel art, often dismissed as primitive, actively leaves blanks for your imagination to fill in, the same way a good novel leaves room for you to cast the characters in your head. Parents, on the other hand, call it, "I can actually understand and beat this before the baby wakes up." In a world of overwhelming complexity, this directness isn't just refreshing, it's a remedy. Another reason why retro gaming is still a thing. If you think retro gaming is a lonely retreat into the past, you haven't been paying attention. It's a vibrant communal potluck. Massive speedrunning marathons like Games Done Quick raise millions of dollars for charity, while hundreds of thousands of people watch a player break Super Metroid in half live. Discord servers with 20,000 members are buzzing right now, with people arguing over the optimal routing for a 26-year-old RPG as if they were debating the Super Bowl, and it's happening offline too. At retro gaming expos across the country, you see fathers handing their sons a Nintendo 64 controller, passing down the family cookbook in a new form. You see friends huddled around a CRT, battling it out in Street Fighter II, just like they did 3 decades ago. The shared struggle of finally beating a brutal level in Contra builds a tighter bond than the shared regret over buying a season pass for a broken game ever will. It's a social ecosystem that supports creators, collectors, and casual players alike, where everyone comes together for one common goal. The numbers have become so large they're almost funny. In 2021, a single sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. From 1986 was sold at auction for $660,000. That wasn't an isolated incident. It was the crest of a wave. The global retro gaming market is a multi-billion-dollar industry and is projected to continue its strong growth. This boom has created an entire ecosystem. Brick-and-mortar shrines to the past, like Retro Game Camp in Tokyo, are thriving. Even that yellowed, beat-up NES in your parents' closet might be worth enough to bankroll a weekend getaway, thanks to a collector community that values vintage patina. It's a classic economic formula. Take a fixed, scarce resource, add a massive dose of nostalgia from a generation now entering its peak earning years, and the result is a commodities boom that your 12-year-old self could have never seen coming, and will enjoy every moment of it. This comeback isn't just about playing old games. It's about creating new ones inspired by them. Shovel Knight, a game that looks and feels like it was made in 1989, sold over 2.5 million copies. Celeste, a challenging platformer with a powerful story, climbed a mountain built on 16-bit bones. You see game jams that spit out 8-bit demakes of Elden Ring overnight. You see pixel art-focused Patreon pages that are single-handedly funding entire studios in places like Buenos Aires. The retro aesthetic isn't just a throwback. It has become the fundamental grammar for an entire creative generation. ensuring that the past of gaming has a vibrant and innovative future that will make you appreciate these games even more. Here's a terrifying statistic. A study by the Library of Congress found that 70% of American silent films made before 1930 are gone forever. Video games are sprinting towards the exact same cliff. Magnetic media rots, the data on disks delaminates, and the servers required to play or even authenticate older games get unplugged without a second thought. Enter the hobbyist archivists and non-profit organizations. Groups like the Internet Archive and the Video Game History Foundation are doing the vital, often legally wobbly work of saving our digital past. Their mission is to preserve everything from the games themselves to the source code, design documents, and promotional materials that tell the story of how they were made. This isn't just about nostalgia, it's an act of cultural preservation, our civilization's history with a chiptune soundtrack. Every retro cartridge is a freeze frame of the era's hopes, fears, and anxieties. They are more than just games, they are artifacts. Missile Command is pure Cold War panic, distilled into 8-bit form. The smug laughing dog from Duck Hunt is a perfect encapsulation of peak Reagan-era suburbia. Dig Dug, that's a bizarre reflection of bubble economy Japan's focus on burrowing and expansion. Playing these games today isn't just escapism, it's archaeology with a D-pad. You are directly handling the cultural residue of the time. That historical context gives retro games a weight and a depth that no cosmetic item or season pass can ever hope to match. Quick pause. If hearing about any of these classic games is making your brain light up, hit that like button so the algorithm knows that these memories matter. Then, drop the name of your personal white whale game in the comments below, the one you've always wanted to play or find again. I'll do my best to point you towards a fair price without getting scalped. By 2028, the oldest members of Gen Z will be hitting 30, and their nostalgia trigger won't be a physical console. It'll be hearing the original lobby music from Fortnite. Chapter 1. It'll be the blocky, primitive look of early Minecraft. The retro wave we're riding right now proves something fundamental and durable about us. Humans don't crave polygons, they crave meaning. Expect to see more neo-retro hybrids, games that leverage cutting-edge technology but are built around the design philosophies of SNS classics. Imagine a game with the fluid, hand-drawn animation of Cuphead, but at 120 frames per second, or a fully voice-acted sequel to Chrono Trigger that retains its beloved mechanics. The cycle is already feeding itself. The past inspires the present, which will one day become a past for a new generation to look back on. That's why retro gaming will always be a thing. I still own the translucent original Game Boy that my grandmom bought for me for Christmas. It has the same sticker on the back that my childhood best friend put there. When I boot up Wario Land 3, the speaker crackles with the warmth of old vinyl. The screen is dim, and the A button sticks just a little bit. And for the 3 minutes it takes me to clear a level, the concepts of rent, deadlines, and doom scrolling completely evaporate from my mind. That's the real alchemy of this movement. That plastic rectangle, which cost $29.99 back in the year 2000, now pays out a compound interest of pure serotonin. The comeback of retro gaming isn't just a market trend or a fad, it's a mass realization that while technology constantly promised us the future, it was the past that gave us a place where we actually feel at home. Go dig that old controller out of the attic, find some batteries and charge it up. Press start. The past is waiting, and it still remembers your name. If this sparked something in you, subscribe for more weekly dives into the economics and the emotions of play. Next week, we're cracking open the specific reasons why the Game Boy Advance SP is secretly the most perfect handheld console ever designed. Until then, keep your batteries charged and your saves backed up.